All right. Welcome to FTC Sports Talk Radio. I'm Sean, your host. I'm here with David and Eric. We will be joined by KD and Jeffrey later. This is our show about the NFL schedule for 2024-2025. So before we get going, everyone, please like, share, and subscribe for all our news and latest updates. How we doing tonight, boys?
Pretty good. How we doing, Walter?
Doing good. What's happening?
Doing good. You're obviously David's ready to make some meth.
That's right. I gotta.
Everybody looks like he's been taking meth, but
I'm just gonna tell you. I just gotta let you know, the reason that this happened is not by choice. The reason this happened is because at 4 o'clock in the morning, I wake up to Jeffrey and Eric on my chat on Facebook, and they've made me pull my hair out. This was not shaven. This is like just ripping my hair out of my freaking head. So this is not by choice. I want to thank you for that. Hey, listen, Paul, don't give me no crap. I'm Walter White, goddammit. If you watch Breaking Bad, you'll understand. No, what's going on, guys?
Nothing much. Eric, do you have a rebuttal to that or an apology at least?
Look, I get up every morning and I get the kids to school, and I expect Jeff to put on some sort of hate, and I'm pretty patient. Usually I let it go for a while, but I mean, how much do you expect me to take? So typically I give a well thought out response. And then usually it ends like that. So I don't think it goes on all day. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it goes on all day. See, I've actually gone and stopped the notifications from the internal chat because I can't take it anymore. So now I just have the business chat, and so I hear that. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Brian from Safeway, who's going to be checking out our show for the first time tonight. Saw my shirt today, and he asked about it. I told him. And also Hot Pockets, he's like so geared up for the Philadelphia Eagles season. He's about to explode. Real quick, I want to wait till maybe another couple of people get in here so we can do our poll question, which, as promised, we will be putting the clip on and having you all vote on who had the best answer. But I want to go through the games that we do know so far in the 2024 NFL season. We know that the kickoff game is going to be the Ravens at the Chiefs on Thursday, the 5th of September. And then the next night, we got the Packers and Eagles. And we also know Tom Brady's first broadcast game is going to be the Cowboys at the Browns on Sunday afternoon, the late game. And then on Monday, we have the Jets at the 49ers. So that's a pretty good weekend for us, first weekend. And then the following Thursday, we got a great game. The Bills at the Dolphins. That one should be real good, especially because it's going to be hot. At least it's a night game.
Well, at least it's a night game.
Yeah, so the Bills won't be sitting there in 8,000-degree heat, which I don't think should be allowed in the NFL, but that's just my opinion. And then the afternoon game, I don't know how this one got leaked, but the Bengals at the Chiefs, which is a real good game. Then we have the European games. We got Jets and Vikings on the 6th of October, the Jags and Bears on the 13th, the Pats and Jags on the 20th. And then from the UK, we're going to go to Germany, where we got the Giants at the Panthers. And then the last two games that we absolutely know about now are the Christmas games, which will be played on Netflix. So I'm sure everyone's seen our little post about it's going to cost you $8,000 to watch all the NFL games this year. But on Christmas on Netflix, you're going to have the Chiefs at the Steelers. And then the afternoon game is going to be the Ravens at Houston. So, Eric, are you going to have a good Christmas or not?
Yeah. So here's I got a leak addition to that. So Pittsburgh is going to be at Baltimore on that on the Saturday on the 17th.
Right.
No, sorry, the Saturday before Christmas. So that would be the 21st. So no, I don't think so. I don't like the idea of having to go to Baltimore and then 4 days later have the Chiefs at home. It sounds like I'm going to be ignoring the chat for so.
No, right. But look at the thing is it's what I like and what happens is we talk about these schedules from the beginning. And the one thing is we look at the teams as 100% healthy, okay? And we know by Christmas time, especially coming up, you're going to have, 4 days between 3 days actually, because the 21st you play, and then you play on Wednesday. So you got like a game, you get 1 day of practice, you get travel time, and then you're ready to play again. And so really, I mean, it's going to be, at that point, it's going to be attrition, because at that point in the season, teams are beat up. And whether you're playing the Chiefs, whether you're playing the Jaguars, it's going to be the team who's the most healthy going into that game. And so again, I mean, we look at it today as a 100% healthy team versus 100% healthy team. But quite frankly, it's just going to be the attrition factor at that point, and who's going to be more physically ready to play that game. I think that both teams are at a disadvantage, because you're both looking at the same amount of time before you have to play, and you're going to have to worry about health.
Do players really want to play on Wednesday, or is this just more of a?
That's money.
It's going to become a tradition. That's they're going to do it like they do Thanksgiving, But it's going to be tradition. If they maybe on a Tuesday, I don't think they would do a game. I think Wednesday's far enough, because if you're playing on Saturday the 21st, or actually I just looked at the date there, December. If you play on Saturday the 21st, you're going to have 4 days until you play again. So 3 days off, and then you play again, which is still brutal. But it'd be like playing on Sunday, then playing on Thursday.
I think the one thing that the NFL has to try to do, if they're going to be doing this, is to basically try to get the 4 teams that are going to be playing Christmas Day, especially if it's a Wednesday or whatever. They need to do a double header on a Thursday night with the 4 teams that are going to be involved in the Christmas Day game. I mean, at least this year, because obviously Christmas falls on different days every year. So again, to your point, Sean, someday Christmas Day might fall on a Sunday, and you're going to have every team playing anyway, but it could fall on a Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday. So however the NFL is gearing their Christmas Day schedule, they should try to make it so that those teams, if they're playing on a Wednesday, those 4 teams play a doubleheader Thursday, and then they swap out the opponents and flip opponents. So at least they go into it with a relatively same amount of practice times. Sometimes it's kind of like the COVID thing, when teams had to forfeit or postpone games, and then they had to try to reschedule and try to rush everything. And so it was kind of interesting. But, again, Christmas Day changes every year. So this year it just happened to fall on a Wednesday. So we'll see how it works.
And if Christmas is on a Sunday, you will not have every single team playing. You still only have the 2 games. So, and yes, Anthony, the Jags do get to stay in London, but they have 1 game at I forgot the name of the stadium. The other one's Wembley. So they do have the two different stadiums.
What is it? Trotter Hotspur? And then
Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
Got to remember those trotters, Trottingham, Trotter, that.
And that's the thing about Jacksonville being a home team. I mean, they had that luxury last year when they played Buffalo the second week of their London doubleheader. I mean, I think, you know, again, I think that the team that's going out there has to do their travel better. If I'm the team that's playing Jacksonville in London that following week, I finish my game on Sunday. I jump on a plane on Monday and I fly to London and I get acclimated to the time and everything. And I give myself that whole week of preparation.
Right.
You know, don't do it like other teams did, like Buffalo last year when they left on Thursday or Friday and tried to make the best of it, because it doesn't work. You got to acclimate yourself.
I just got the Sunday night football games. I'm trying to get them up on the screen now. See if I can quick get this into our little chatty chat or our thing. Why did I just do this?
So
Screen.
Have you seen any of your games, Eric?
Yeah, I got the whole schedule.
So let me just jump through. I'll jump through Buffalo's schedule real quick. Eric, you can do your schedule, and then you can bring up the Sunday games while you're doing that. So basically, well, never mind. I'll bring this up first for you. So here's our Sunday night football schedule, released by the NFL.
All right. So yeah, we got not bad. Not bad. Week 4 looks good. Buffalo at Ravens. Oh, Cowboys at Steelers, another good one. Jets at Steelers, another good one. Oh, we got Dallas at week 8 at San Fran. Nice. Then week 10, Detroit at Houston. Woo! San Francisco at Buffalo on the 13th.
Week 13.
These are pretty good games.
I know. A lot of them are.
You know, if I had to pick and choose which ones aren't great, the Giants and the Bengals, the Chiefs and Falcons. Other than that, pretty good games.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually looking forward to that Chicago Bears Houston Texans game. I really want to see Caleb Williams against that team. I want to see those two young quarterbacks. I want to see what Caleb Williams is all about. I mean, I know it's early in the season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But still, I mean, you get the hype of the rookie and Caleb Williams, and you saw what C.J. Stroud did last year. I mean, I guess that's a good measuring stick because of the hype surrounding Caleb Williams this year. You know, you want to see if he lives up to the hype that really wasn't around C.J. Stroud last year. I mean, you know, everybody thought that it was a reach that Houston took him, and everybody thought that they were going to pay the price for doing that. And so it's just interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see if Caleb can live up to the hype that he was billed all in this draft.
I am trying to get the full schedule of games up. I'm going to share the screen again and let me know if we can all see it or if it's just too small.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be too small, but can we all see that?
No.
Okay.
No. I couldn't even read one team on there.
Okay. All right. Well, fortunately, I don't have a printer here, but I'll keep looking and see if I can get something up. But David, go ahead and go about what you were talking with Eric about.
I'm going to run down the Buffalo Bills 24 schedule. So we might have to go on the road from the couch at a bar this first week of the season, Sean, because on week 1, September 8th, Buffalo opens up their season at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Week 2, they play September 12th on Thursday Night Football. They play the Miami Dolphins. That's the first game of the Thursday schedule. Followed that by a Monday Night Football game, September 23rd against Jacksonville. Then they then they go, or Baltimore. Oh, I don't know if it's to or away. No, No, there's 18 weeks in the season, but 17 games because of the buys. The season goes 18 weeks, but there's 17 games.
Right.
Right. So
Rich Goodell's talking about adding another game.
yeah, I know, which would be nice. I wouldn't mind it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And 2 bye weeks. That's huge.
No, it's 18. It would be 18 weeks with 1 bye.
And then the Super Bowl always falls on the day before President's Day. Yeah. Not that I ever get President's Day off, but most of us do. Either. And it would be like you get the day out of the Super Bowl off.
I'm in retail. I don't get days off.
You're in rehab?
Huh?
You're in rehab?
Retail.
Oh, retail. Yeah, I'm in the hotel industry. Yeah, we don't get any day that you get off, I work.
So September 29th, we play the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Then we play, after the Ravens, we come off October 6th to play the Houston Texans. Then we go, and then New York comes to Buffalo for a Monday Night Football game. Buffalo against the Jets on Monday night. Then we play the Tennessee Titans October 20th. Then we go Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks on the 27th, Miami Dolphins in Buffalo on the 3rd of November, followed by a game against the Indianapolis Colts. And then Kansas City travels to Buffalo on November 27th. Then we get a bye week. Following the bye, Buffalo comes off the bye to play the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Followed up by a game against the Los Angeles Rams, followed by a game against the Detroit Lions, followed by a game against New England, and we finish the season December 29th against the New York Jets. So that's a tough schedule. That is a tough schedule, man.
So are you going to the Jets the last week, or are you at home?
We are, I believe we play – it doesn't say, but I think that we get the Jets at home on Sunday night, and I think you guys come. We go to New York for the December 29th, I believe.
Oh,
so that is going to be a tough schedule.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, the Falcons and Saints do have the easiest schedule. You know why? Because their division sucks.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, one thing I've noticed about just even some of these, like the very early games, like the first couple weeks, there is a lot of Super Bowl contenders who could literally start 0-2, 0-3.
Sure.
Because the schedule is that tough. I mean, to climb out of an 0-3 hole is not easy for any team. So, I mean, it is extremely possible that you can see the Ravens, or you can see the Chiefs at 0-3 right off the bat.
Yeah.
Coming back from that is not an easy thing.
No, not at all. It's going to be a. Go ahead, Eric. Why don't you give us your Steelers schedule and let us know what you think?
I was looking at it. It was tough. I wanted to make a comment on your Bills schedule. I think you got 4 games after week 1, which you better win if you're going to do anything, because that Arizona game is going to be a very important game for you to win. But you go to Miami, you have Jacksonville at home, then at Baltimore, at Houston, at New York. And depending on, Aaron Rodgers and his health, what I think of the Jets this year. So, yikes. I mean, you better get that game against Arizona and Jacksonville at home, because those 3 games, that's going to be rough.
Sure.
That's a tough schedule.
No, it is.
Without a doubt. I didn't realize it until I looked.
Well, I looked at the strength of schedule, and Pittsburgh is like 4th in the league and for the hardest schedule.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through that here in a second. So, that is rough, but that 3 games in a row of
I know.
Houston, the Jets, and Baltimore. Wow.
Yeah.
That's 3 in a row on the road too.
Yeah.
They did not do you any favors.
We got no friends in the NFL, I guess.
No. So let me pull up their schedule real quick and switch gears here.
How about that? Is that any better?
Probably not. Oh, yeah.
So Pittsburgh gets the Falcons, the Broncos on the road. So if they're going to do anything, the Arthur Smith revenge game in the Denver, the Russell Wilson, we're paying you $50 million to beat us game are going to be critical. Then they have the Chargers at home at Indianapolis, where we play every year. I don't understand. I'll probably go to that one. The Cowboys at home on Sunday Night Football. Then they go to Vegas. That's a Sunday game the following week. Then they have the Jets at home. You know what I think of the Jets. Giants need to win that game. I don't think they'll be very good. The bye week, the Commanders, not very good. Ravens at home will be tough because Baltimore is always tough. At Cleveland's going to be tough. At Cincinnati, we'll see about Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Cleveland again at home. So 3 straight weeks of Ohio games. Then they go to Philadelphia. I hate going to Philadelphia. And then they go to Baltimore. Talk about a way to end the year. Here's my tough game.
Wow, your last.
I'm looking at that. That's brutal.
At Philadelphia and at Baltimore.
Your last 7 games are like, man.
And the Chiefs.
You got.
Yeah, you talk about a rough 3 games. So I was talking about your rough 3 games, which I suck on the road. We go to Philly, go to Baltimore, and we get Kansas City at home. So I mean, it's like the schedule makers on every team want to just really show.
Wow, I'm telling you that your last 7 are Cleveland, Baltimore. That's a tough ending to the season. I mean, you
better go on a run early.
Yeah, that's why I said you got to beat the Broncos, you got to beat the Falcons, you got to beat the Commanders, you got to beat the Giants, you got to get those games that you should win. Because if you don't, and you got to go, and they're not going to go like they ended the year winning 5 straight the last 2 years.
Yeah,
not with Kansas City at home or at Philadelphia. That's a rough schedule.
Where Buffalo has to do it in the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
where Buffalo has to start at least 3-3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, or in that area. I mean, you're really at that end of that last 7-game stretch. Yeah. You guys have better made your hay in the beginning.
Your first 7 and my last 7, but your first 7. I mean, I'm like, man, they could go 2-5. I could go 2-5 my final 7 and really screw the pooch.
And the Buffalo does not end up with the Jet going with the Jets at home. They have to go to New England week 18.
Yeah, the Bills get their last 2 games at home. They play New England and then they close out.
They go to New England week 18.
No, what's that?
They go to New England week 18.
Yeah, they go to New England week 18.
Yeah,
Bills play New England at home and the Jets. Oh, I'm sorry. They played New England. I'm sorry. So they finish out 3 games in their division. So they go to New England.
Yeah.
I didn't read that last one, but man, I'm telling you, that's just brutal. I mean, these schedules, I'm telling you, as much as we give each other stuff in the chat and everything, the NFL has made up for all our crap talking about our teams, because it's really going to be survival of the fittest. I mean, it really is. It's going to be who stays healthy and who is peaking at the right time. We can talk about the players. We can talk about whether this guy's better than that guy and whatnot, but it's all about coming together and performing at the right time of the season, because these schedules do not do our teams any favors.
Yeah, and the Jets have Miami at home the last week. Like, that's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, Aaron Rodgers lacks the cold.
Yeah, so I mean, Miami having to go to New York in the cold, that might be a favorable situation for you, because you saw the Kansas City game. They didn't even want to go play that game.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we're going to get a little more into the schedule in a little bit, but hey, there it is. You got your schedule as soon as it came out. I was hoping to have more people on, but I do want to kind of get to our poll question, unless you guys want to talk a little bit more about the schedule, and then we'll see who else comes on.
No, we can do the poll question, because the schedule is going to keep coming and people know their schedules. I want to get into some conversation, some topics, some some internal chat topics, but not like really off the.
Not Pittsburgh and Josh Allen.
No, just stuff that's happened since the draft and in general and things like that.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go off the Jeff deep end and Eric deep end. I'm just want to have a discussion.
All right. Well, let's start with that because I don't remember who posted the poll. Well, not the poll question, but the question I'm using for the poll question. It was, what was the biggest what if in football? And I would like all of us to answer on this because there's so many different things. Like, what if this happened? What if that happened?
Sure.
And I hope we all look up and you may do the Norwood doesn't miss wide right, so you're 1-3 in the Super Bowl instead of 0-4. But I think there's many other better what ifs.
Oh yeah,
out there.
I got the perfect what if.
I think my what if is going to trump your what if.
Here's my what if.
I don't want to hear it now. I want to wait till more people are on. God damn it!
Oh, I thought you were saying they wanted to talk about it.
No, let's go to what you were saying.
Well, what I wanted to talk about really is in the internal chat that we have. We get on each other's case from time to time. I'm more of the logical one. Eric and Jeffrey go off on tangents and stuff like that. But I want to just be a voice of logic and reason, because a lot has been said on Twitter, a lot has been said on X rather, Facebook, about Buffalo signing Chase Claypool and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So I'm just going to put this to rest really quick, really simple, really easy. Anybody with a brain who thinks that those two players were signed to replace Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis does not know the first thing about football and should give up watching football altogether. Because I'll tell you what, Chase Claypool, number one, is probably more of a camp body than a signing. He's 25. We paid $25,000 for him to come to camp. If he makes good on it and he can stick on the roster, so be it. He'll be a 5. He won't even be a 4. He'll be a 5. He'll probably won't even dress Sundays. He'll be the reserve guy if somebody gets hurt. But more importantly, the one thing I will say is this, and this has been said by Eric about leadership, about people who've been there, about people who've won championships. And I'll say this. Buffalo did not sign Marquez Valdez-Scantling to catch 120 passes and 1,500 yards. But I will say this about MVS. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, so he's got the pedigree of playing in a Super Bowl. He caught a touchdown pass last year to put Kansas City ahead in the Super Bowl. So, again, do I expect Marquez Valdez-Scantling to beat out any of our Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Dalton Kincaid? No, I don't. And he might not even make the roster either. So, again, my point is you have to have 90 men in camp. Okay, Buffalo has gone out and they've tried out a lacrosse player to play football. They went out recently and are bringing in Gabe Stevenson, the pro wrestler, the wrestling NCAA wrestling champion who went to the WWE. So they're reaching out far and wide. But I will say this, just like I said last year, one of the best free agent signings that the Buffalo Bills have made this year is not a player. They have helped themselves so much with one move. They hired John Perry, the official, to sit up in the booth and tell Sean McDermott when to challenge. And you can sit there and you can laugh all you want, but Sean McDermott is the worst in the NFL at challenging plays. This guy, being a ref, will be able to come in and he will be able to tell Sean why, what, how, and if you should or if you shouldn't do that. And KD, welcome to the show, my friend.
What up?
What's happening, man? Mr. Colorado Springs KD. Whoa, look out.
Can y'all hear me?
Like I said this last year about Jim Schwartz in Cleveland. John Perry, the official, being up in that booth is going to do Sean McDermott such a world of good. I love the fact that we hired him. I love the fact that we were the first team to decide to do that. Hire a retired official to get into the booth and give guidance to your head coach as to when to call a challenge or not. I think that's a brilliant move. And I bet you other teams follow suit. And they would be smart if they did.
Okay. Real quick question. What is the name of the general manager for the Buffalo Bills?
Brandon Bean.
Is he any relation to Billy Bean? Because they seem to be playing some money ball.
Hey, if it worked for Billy.
Well, it did, but I mean, they're pulling wrestlers and lacrosse players, and that's a pain. I see what you're saying, David, but
here's my point, and this is all I'm saying, is people look at what they're doing, and they're like, well, he's coming in to be the next all-pro defensive tackle or linebacker or this or that. He's not. It's not going to happen. The fact is this. The guy will never make the team, won't make the team. But if you're athletic and you have ability, you never know where that person comes from. So if you don't even reach out to even find out, you got 90 men to fill a roster. Okay. You pretty much
know a kicker in the league they should probably fucking go after.
Who?
The guy in the ex UFL who's kicked
you never know that they might end up doing that.
They should.
There's probably 31 other NFL teams or probably 28 other NFL teams that are thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not just Buffalo. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the NFL who are waiting for the UFL to be done to sign that kicker. And then that other guy, Mason, made a 62-yarder this week. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What I'd like to know is if the UFL balls are different, because if they're not, then I'm making a run at either one of those guys if they're going to be kicking 62-yard field goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I wonder if Puka Nakua's brother is going to get pulled in because that kid's lighting it up.
Very well could.
So, first of all, KD, I want to, welcome you to coming on. I know you've just moved. Want to thank you for single-handedly doubling the amount of black people in the state of Colorado.
you actually be surprised.
Sorry, I just me, I had to make the joke. So anyway,
he's on the west side of Colorado Springs.
It's Dion and KD now, right?
Right.
I was gonna say, Katie, did you already get a Denver Broncos sweatshirt? I mean, did you change that fast?
Looks like it. What the hell is that?
Orange and red. What the hell? Oh, okay.
Auburn, okay.
I thought that was Broncos color.
Hey, look, I'm not a bandwagonist expert like you guys are.
Well, I'm wearing my Jeffrey colors, so I figured you'd be wearing the Broncos colors. So
Nah, not one bit. Not one bit. I'll stand. Matter of fact, we played them this year, so I'll make sure I flip a bird to them.
So, first of all, Katie, welcome back. We know you've been busy and moving on and whatever. Did you have any comments on the Ravens Chiefs opening night game?
I love it. Here's the thing, man. I'm one of those fans where scared money don't make no money. That type of philosophy. Hey, and I'm also a huge wrestling fan when it comes down to Ric Flair. In order to beat a man, you got to beat the man, right? You could talk about how you deserve this and how you deserve that, or you should earn this or whatever. Look, I'm tired of all the matchups and stats and all that. Let's just do it. I'm to the point to where it's like, hey, look, if you're gonna win the Super Bowl, we know who we got to go through. We know what's in front of us, and look, it's time for some get back. And all the people that saying, hey, okay, look, this regular season game doesn't matter. Look, try saying that if you lose these type of games and a few more of them, and you don't have home field advantage.
Sure,
Damn.
Absolutely.
Quick real follow up here, KD. Ravens at Houston on Christmas. Are you going to have a Merry Christmas?
Absolutely. Here's the reason why. So our bye week is week 14. I want to say that is 2 weeks or something like that, and before that or something like that. Either way go, I'm good. I'm good with either one. We done it before. We did it last year. We can do it again. Now, I say that now because it's May. Come October, when we barely limping into certain games, that may change. So again, I still say the same thing. Hey, look, I'm okay with this schedule because it was the fourth hardest schedule. Oh no, second hardest schedule in the league. So I know we're gonna have bumps in the road like this. I know it.
Sure. And like I said, KD, before you came on, I mean, we can talk about the players. We can talk, in our internal chat about who's this guy and this guy's better than this guy. When you're talking about week 12, 13, stuff like that, it all comes down to attrition, man. It all comes down to health. And it's, everybody's in the same boat. And like you said, if you want to get to the playoffs and have that opportunity, you got to play the teams that are on your schedule, and you got to beat those teams that are good to that, so you earn your right to be there.
Right.
And so I'll have a Merry Christmas because number one, I think both those games are going to be very good and very well played and highly contested games. And to see Pittsburgh against Kansas City, I think it's going to be great with Kansas City's offense against Pittsburgh's defense. And then to see those two quarterbacks, CJ and Lamar, especially if Lamar stays healthy and CJ stays healthy and everything is okay on that end, I think it's just a marquee matchup waiting to happen. I think it's going to be fireworks. I think it's going to be great.
I mean, my only gripe with the schedules is I need to know what their metrics are or what kind of baseline they're using. Because I've watched certain teams go to the playoffs consistently, get close to the AFC Championship, or even win the Super Bowl, and not have the same amount of tough schedules when it comes down to, hey, what it is we got going on. Because I'm not even going to use the Ravens for an example, right? I'm going to use the Texans. The Texans, I think, were in the bottom six, I think 2021 or something like that, 2022. And then, they win those games. I got it, whatever it may be. But then now they're in the top 10, tied in the top 10 somewhere, or top 5 or something like that in strength of schedule. I just want to know what's the metric that's being used to pump that.
I'll tell you. So first of all, besides your division, now your outside teams that you play in your other conferences, you play the first place team in that other conference. So depending on what year, let's say that they were playing the NFC South, your strength of schedule would be down a little bit because the NFC South isn't that robust. But again, if you're playing the AFC North and you got to play all those guys, the division winner's 11-5. So you go by winning percentage of all those teams that you have to play outside of your conference or outside of your division. And that's what makes up your strength of schedule based on that. So again, year to year, that's why when we talked about strength of schedule last year, and my only thought was teams change. So I really don't go by the strength of schedule per se, because the team that you're talking about is not the same team you're playing this year from a on paper standpoint and from a record standpoint. Yeah, like Baltimore has the number one strength of schedule, the hardest schedule. But the teams you're playing this year are not the same teams that played last year. So again, it's a relevant stat to say we're playing all these first place teams, blah, blah, blah. But the team could change. You lose free agents, you lose players, so on and so forth. And that could change dramatically just what happens during the course of the coming season.
Sure. All right. Now, so we have 4 of us at it's 540 or 840, wherever you are, 740. So let's go on to the what if question.
All right.
Here's the deal. Okay, so what if? And we'll go Eric, KD. Do you want to go first, David, or do you want to save yours till last?
I'll go last. I'm fine.
Okay. So go Eric, KD, myself, and then David. What if, like a situation that happened that impacted football? So, again, if Norwood was not wide right, the Bills would have won that Super Bowl.
Sure.
Would have changed things. Eric, what is your what if?
what if the Bills would not have traded with Kansas City to allow Kansas City to trade up and draft Patrick Mahomes? What if Patrick Mahomes ended up with one of the other teams that were interested in him? So he came out in 2023 and talked about the Browns. He talked about a couple different teams that were interested in him. So what if he would have, I think New Orleans was one of them. What if he would have ended up in a different situation? Now, I do think if he ended up in New Orleans, it would have been a similar storyline where New Orleans would have been really, really good because he would have sat behind Drew Brees. But what if he would have ended up in Cleveland when Cleveland wasn't very good? How would the NFL be impacted today? Would we be talking about Josh Allen as a perennial Super Bowl Patrick Mahomes type player? Would we be talking about a lot more parity in the NFL when it comes to titles? So that's my what if. I think it was a very impactful trade, and I think if that trade did not happen, and the Chiefs did not get Patrick Mahomes when they got him at I believe it was 11, how would that have shaped the landscape?
Sure.
All right. Cool, man. Great.
Good
So real
job.
quick, before we go to KD, this segment is brought to you by Arby's, whose slogan is "Thank God we're not Applebee's." So, KD, Applebee's, official restaurant bar of the NFL. All right, KD, what is your what if?
My biggest what if is one of the, some people look at him as the best coach in the NFL. And I look at him, a lot of people don't even understand his trials and tribulations that he went through before he got to the Patriots. So my biggest what if is what if the Browns never fired Belichick and he stayed there? Would he have won a Super Bowl, let alone 6 of them with the Browns organization? And you can probably say, yeah, okay, would the organization give him the keys to run stuff the way he ran it in New England the same way for Cleveland? And I don't know if the owner was lined up to do as such, because again, if you look at that franchise was kind of doomed pre-Belichick years. Yeah, they had some stuff that they were doing, splashes here and there, but for the most part, they were the armpit of the NFL. And for them to basically bring in or a coach and then allow him to have certain reins over the organization, I think that's one of the kind of things that flipped this on its head. And I don't know if Cleveland would ever be outfitted in a way to say, okay, look, I'm gonna let this one particular entity have all these rights to players and stuff like that over a 20-year span. I don't think they would. So.
All right.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, Sean.
My what if is, what if William McKinley never was assassinated? So McKinley was elected president. He gets assassinated 194 days into his term, and Theodore Roosevelt becomes president. This is in 1901. And in the late 1800s, early 1900s, college football, because there was no pro at that time, they had 19 kids die, 138 injured in like 2 years, like serious injuries, because football was just this big scrum. And as luck would have it, the big game of the year was always Yale versus Harvard. Well, Theodore Roosevelt's child goes to Harvard. And in 1906, Theodore Roosevelt gets together with the rule makers of football and convinces them to allow the forward pass. At that time, if you threw the ball and it was not caught, it was considered a fumble. No one did it. They all just scrummed and scrummed and scrummed. So they allowed the forward pass. They changed from 5 yards to a first down to 10 yards to a first down. And the game of football, as we now know it, was born because William McKinley was assassinated and Theodore Roosevelt became our president.
So let's thank Buffalo for that too.
Okay.
Because he was killed in Buffalo. So I'm just saying, thank Buffalo for the advent of modern football.
Hey, at least that one wasn't wide right.
That's right. Oh my God. All right. So I got a joke one, and then I got my real one. The joke is biggest what if. What if OJ did not kill Nicole Brown Simpson? If OJ did not do that, we would never have heard of Robert Kardashian, which means that we would have never heard of Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney Kardashian, which means that people would not have wasted all their time watching the Kardashians on these television shows. These people would have never been popular, and life would have been sweet. So thank you so much, OJ, for that.
At no time did that answer make sense to anyone.
Anyone. It didn't.
But
you are completely wrong, and may God have mercy on your soul.
We still have people like Paris Hilton walking the earth, though.
Oh no, I don't want her. She just walks the earth because her father owned a hotel. I mean that you know, and she knows what she's talking about. So my real what if 31 NFL teams didn't pass on a quarterback for 6 rounds and allowed Tom Brady to go to the Patriots in the 6th round? What would Tom Brady still be considered the GOAT? Or was it, does that answer the was it Brady or was it Belichick question? It's kind of almost ties into the Eric to the Patrick Mahomes type question. If he doesn't go to the right system, the right team, is he the same Patrick Mahomes that you see on Sunday? And so again, that is a huge what if. It's if Tom Brady was traded to or drafted by the Jets or by the Browns or by the Seahawks, is Tom Brady still considered the greatest of all time? We don't know that answer or was Brady a system quarterback who became great because of the system that Belichick employed? It's just one of those unknown questions that can never be answered, but it's a great what if because he lasted so long. And all those teams passed on this guy, and then he went to what we would call the right system, but was it the system or the player?
All right. Well, what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to take this clip, and I'm going to upload it to our drive, and then KD, can you make polls on Facebook?
That'd be a neat trick.
Yeah, I can make a poll. So I'll make the poll with all our choices in there. It was Brady, Mahomes. Yours
well, actually,
was,
watch the clip and then who do you think made the best argument? So was it Eric, KD, myself, or David?
Oh, okay. So once you post the clip, then I'll take that and then I'll reuse it.
Okay, I'll put it in the drive. All right.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Because we keep talking about doing this and then we never get it done.
But I do want to say about the what if things, and it's really interesting because again, I think that's one of the biggest questions, like especially when it comes down to the quarterbacks and so on and so forth. I mean, there's so many what if moments in football that like what if the Saints didn't trade their entire draft class for Ricky Williams? I mean,
I had that Herschel Walker trade to Minnesota that gave the Cowboys 3 Super Bowls.
Does Dallas become a dynasty if they don't make the Herschel Walker trade to Minnesota? I mean, so again, there's so many what ifs, and that's the hardest part because again, when we talk about greatness of players and so on and so forth, of course there are players that transcend what they do and that they're just great wherever they go, but maybe. Because again, most of the players who are great wherever they have gone have been great to begin with in a certain situation. And they like Peyton Manning, he was great in Indianapolis for so long, went to Denver, continued that greatness in Denver, maybe not to the extent that he had in Indy, but he won a Super Bowl in Denver and so on and so forth. So again, was it the player? Or was it the system and the fact that he played it so long that allowed him to continue his ability to thrive in the NFL based off his experience from what he learned in the beginning?
Yeah, what if Elway went to the Colts, who he refused to go to? What happens if Eli Manning goes to the Chargers and Phillip Rivers goes to the Giants?
Exactly.
Does Tom Brady get crushed in the Super Bowl twice?
What happens if Bill Belichick doesn't walk off the Jets job before he goes to New England? Do the Jets have a 20-year dynasty? I'm sorry, Sean. I don't mean to burst your bubble.
You're a horrible human being.
If you notice, Sean, I didn't bring that shit up. I brought up the Browns.
I appreciate that. And, and he's bringing up OJ, and the Browns Broncos will never be great. So, yeah. Anyway, but hey, that great little segment there. That was kind of cool because that's.
I could have said, what if Ben Roethlisberger was convicted of rape? And then what would have happened, Eric?
Oh my God! I could just see
I got it
that's
for
why I
everybody.
am not in the internal chat anymore.
Let's cut the chat out. And I think Jeff and I spend a whole. There's got to be. It's too bad you guys are not recording this because I think Jeff and I's argument over Josh Allen may be the longest argument in the history of mankind. I think he and I have gone back and forth longer than any other argument ever.
We all know that, and actually, the people who watch this show know that because as soon as that comes up, they're like, "Oh, this again." So
Exactly.
we're all forbidden until.
Well, but Eric, I'm going to tell you something just so you're all aware, and I'm sure you all are. It took Jeff 2 years to get on the Josh Allen bandwagon because he was all about Baker Mayfield, and that's all we heard about. Me and Katie were just like, "What the hell are you watching? What football?"
And I'm talking about like Baker Mayfield would lose, and he would still tell me how great he was.
Oh,
okay, all right.
I was like, What quarterback do you see on the field, man? Because this guy just don't have it. But,
Didn't Jeff say you wanted Josh Rosen?
Oh.
No, I don't think he ever wanted Josh Rosen. No, he was never on the Josh Rosen.
You want Josh, or he told me you wanted Josh Rosen.
He might.
That David Loddick was.
Oh, if he said that, then I feel sorry for him because I was Josh Allen from the beginning. But if he wanted Josh
here we
Rosen,
go, guys. Quick next topic of discussion. I'm going to bring up key games from the 2024-2025 schedule. And I want y'all to comment. Just give brief comments. You don't have to go crazy. But Arizona, week 18. San Francisco goes into Arizona. Arizona typically beats San Francisco in Arizona.
Mhm.
What if the San Francisco's right on the edge there? Does that spell doom for them? Or do you think this is a cakewalk?
I think San Francisco's resting their starters in week 18.
Okay.
So that's my point. I believe.
Maybe.
It depends on where they are. Because like, okay, when is their bye week? Because like, for instance,
11.
I know for sure if a team has a week 14 bye week, they're probably not going to rest their starters. You know what I mean? And if they do rest them, it's probably, hey, okay, after the half or something like that, but they're not going to sit them out for the whole game.
Right.
So, if I'm them, I'm trying to get as much experience as I can because again, some of the San Francisco team is so unproven. One thing that I want to see is their secondary, how their secondary gels, because there were times to where their secondary was just like they couldn't guard anybody, particularly in the Lions game. It just didn't do anything. It was just like the Lions were doing whatever they want, and I'm looking at them like, holy crap, okay.
Mhm.
And then you can also make the argument if Green Bay coaching was just a little bit better, San Francisco probably wouldn't even made it to play against the Lions.
True.
You can make that argument because for a while they were getting taken to the woodshed by Green Bay, and I was just like, oh, right.
And I am not a proponent of any teams resting their starters in week 18, especially if they already have home field locked up. Because again, I've always said when you sit for 2 weeks, you come out rusty. Sometimes that's proven right, sometimes that's proven wrong. But I at least give them a half to play before they sit.
All right, Eric, any thoughts on this matter?
Well, I listened to Dave and I disagree. I think I'm going to make a prediction here, and I like to try to look into the crystal ball. And sometimes I'm right, but more times I'm right. sometimes I'm wrong.
Oh,
So, but I'm gonna throw it out here.
You
Yeah.
had it right the first time.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it out here for everybody on the show. I think that in Week 18, Arizona will have nothing to play for. I think San Francisco will have everything to play for, and I think it'll be determining home field, and they'll get beat, and they will then lose in the playoffs because they don't have home field. So the Week 18 loss will do more damage to them than any other regular season game, because I think they'll have to go onto the road, either to Green Bay or Detroit, whoever wins that division, and I think they'll lose.
Wow.
So that Week 18 game, losing their home field advantage because they'll be like in 11-6 or 12-5, and Green Bay or Detroit will be better than they will be and win a tiebreaker, and then beat them in the playoffs at home.
Dang. All right. So next one, we're going to a second Week 18 game. Now, the Chicago Bears are loaded with weapons. I'm really impressed. I don't think they anyway. I've killed this horse. Chicago at Green Bay Week 18. That could have serious implications for playoffs. Anybody? What do you think about that game? I mean,
which one is it?
Caleb, Week 18, Chicago at Green Bay. That's a tough one.
Well, again, to me, I think the fact is, does Caleb Williams, number one, make it through the season healthy? Number two, does he live up to the hype? But again, I say teams, especially that team, it's so made over with new players. I don't expect a lot out of Chicago, even though they have marquee names, even though they got Keenan Allen and stuff. I think a team, especially with the rookie quarterback, it takes time to gel. Again, I still think that Jordan Love can wear the belt that Aaron Rodgers passed down and said that we own Chicago at this point. I think it's going to be interesting. But again, I think it could have home field playoff implications for Green Bay. But again, I think I'm still looking at Chicago as a top 10 draft pick next year. I don't expect a lot, even though they've added weapons. I think it takes time to gel. So that's my thought. Katie? Go ahead, Eric.
I don't disagree. So when I said the Arizona will have nothing to play for, Chicago will have nothing to play for, but Green Bay will come through and win that game. And there will be a lot of drama with those two games. They'll be playing simultaneous at the same time. I do think Green Bay and Jordan Love is an ascending team who I'm very high on. And I think that game will matter. And I think Green Bay will beat Chicago in that game. And it'll be kind of the ascension of the next great Green Bay quarterback.
KD,
what do you got?
How dare you? How dare both of you? There will be something to play for both of them. Here's the reality. How many games did they win last year?
Chicago? What, 3?
Okay, won 3 games. How many Green Bay win before they inserted Jordan Love? They got the receivers. They were a non-playoff team, correct? So when it comes down to this, the Bears defense was playing good last year, the later part of the season, right? So now it's just up to the offense to do, hey, you don't even have to be your 100% yourself. Just go out and score some points to where we can beat some folks. Or keep it to where we don't have to stop everybody every drive. The other thing about this is we don't know what we're going to get with Minnesota, right? So it's a clear number 2. The Lions is probably number 1 in the division. The clear number 2, they need somebody to step in there, right? I'm being honest with you. Do not be surprised if Green Bay struggles a little bit offensively because these guys have tape now, or what their abilities are. Now, you don't have any tape of what the Bears have, right? Not together, right? So again, and then they don't have a bunch of expectations because we all agree on this panel that Green Bay is probably a playoff team. Wouldn't we agree with that?
Yeah.
So with those expectations, it may be a little bit of pressure on some of those guys. I'm not sitting there saying, hey, the Green Bay is going to automatically fall out of the playoffs or something like that. What I'm sitting there saying is I do believe Chicago could rise to the occasion because they don't have to rise too much. They don't have to rise to. They don't have to do a lot. And then if you look at their schedule, their schedule should be favorable to where hey they're not going to just get blown out of the water week in and week out if that defense stays healthy and stays the way they performed last year.
Sure. No, I agree with you.
All right. See, I think that Chicago is going to be a hell of a lot better. I said that last year, and they still kind of sucked, but they won some games. But they are like loaded
I said
with weapons.
Hi, Hot Pockets. What's up, brother?
Hey, there you go. We got you, Hot Pockets. Okay, so now my next game I want to talk about, week 2 game. Do we believe that Russell Wilson is going to get the nod as a starting QB for the Pittsburgh Steelers? In week 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers go to Denver. Would this be a revenge game? Eric, go for it, my man.
God, so you know how I love talking about beating the Ravens because I love telling KD that it's my Super Bowl every year and it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. This is his game, right? So hey, you're paying me $50 million and I'm gonna stand across the sideline and I get to sling it and try to beat you. So barring injury, he will be. I don't see Justin Fields necessarily picking up an offense in one offseason where Russell's been around forever and probably can pick up things probably a little quicker than Justin can. So yes, I do think he'll be in Denver. And boy, that crowd in that environment, that's going to be a fun environment. Like I think it's going to be a fun game. And in all honesty, he could fall flat on his face. And if he does, and they lose, man, I'm going to turn off the notifications in the chat because I'm going to hear about it. I can promise you one, Jeffrey Loddick, who's not here tonight, he'll be blowing up my phone. But it's exciting, right? That's what professional sports is all about.
I think this game is where Russell Wilson will throw 6 of his 20 touchdown passes in one game. And that's fine. I mean, look at the reality is, again, to me, I'm at the point where these rookie quarterbacks coming in, they got to prove it. And Denver is going through an entire reset, almost rebuild, if you will. I mean, they got rid of Jerry Jeudy. They have Cortland Sutton, who's not happy and doesn't want to be there. Bo Nix is new. Defensively, I don't, with the exception of Surtain and a couple guys on the defensive line, I don't really, I don't expect much from Denver this year. The same with Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels for that matter. I think rookies have to go through, and the fact that they're playing so early in the season, again, it's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be, and again, Jared Stidham could be the starting quarterback. I'm not even going to say that Bo Nix is going to be starting week 2. I don't think that's the case, but we'll see what happens. But again, I think on the one hand, I think from a coaching perspective, I think Sean Payton will try to devise a way to not get shown up by Russell Wilson and show everybody in Denver that he made the right choice. And so I believe that kind of motivation can carry over to a team. Playing at home in Denver is also a plus because they're in Denver. So that might help, but I don't expect Denver to put up too much of a struggle. That's just my thoughts. KD, what are your thoughts on that?
Look, man, it's 2 things that I can tell you that happens with our AFC North teams. There are teams when we play, we tend to overlook. This cannot be the game. It cannot be the game we think, hey, we're gonna come out and score 40 to 6. You got to come out, hit them in the mouth, and get it over with really quick. Because if not, you run the risk of nothing against the Colts. Baltimore versus Indianapolis. Yeah, it was a monsoon or whatnot, but if you'd have just asked the average fan, Baltimore versus Indianapolis last year, people would have probably been like, hands down the Ravens, right? So again, this can't be that game that where, hey, okay, look, you come out there and you just overlook them because of quote unquote the rookie quarterback or it's a rebuild type of year.
No, absolutely.
If the game goes how we kind of skew it to go, every time Russell Wilson throws a touchdown, the celebration should be sign that check, baby. Getting paid $50 million by another team to play against them. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so I got a couple more here. Week 14. Minnesota heads to the ATL. Apologize in advance. Turn off your sound for the next 20 seconds, but I think Kirk Cousins is going to skull fuck the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, turn your sound back on. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
I don't have to always go first. You guys can jump in, but I'll just say this. I'm going to be, as long as he's healthy, but I would not be surprised if Michael Penix Jr. doesn't play football this year. And not because, and I think it's going to be more due to health than anything. But that game might not even be the Kirk Cousins giving it to Minnesota by that time of the year. I mean, depending on what Atlanta is doing and where they're at. I mean, look, he basically came out and said, if I would have known beforehand that they were going to draft a quarterback, I wouldn't have signed here, even though he said, I don't deal with hypotheticals. That's basically what he said. So I don't think, other than the fact that he's getting paid a lot of money, I don't really think Kirk Cousins is a happy camper with what they did, because a team that's trying to win it all would have brought in a wide receiver at that spot to help the offense, because you have Drake London and Darnell Mooney. You brought no skill to the offensive side of the ball to help that offense. You have a tight end who in the previous regime was never used properly. Again, maybe this coach is different. Maybe Kyle Pitts will get, his just rewards. We know Kirk Cousins likes to throw to a tight end. I mean, but again, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm just not a happy camper. And I think Michael Penix could be playing this year. Katie,
if you're getting $100 million and you don't have to play, I'm still pretty freaking happy. I'm sorry. Okay, Katie, what you got?
So Penix probably will play, because if you look at that division, can anybody tell me the clear-cut favorite in that division?
No.
Right.
And which
division?
So what's going to happen, right? If nobody takes that division by the horns, there's no pressure to win. And there's no pressure to win. Hey, okay, look, we can experiment a couple of games or so. And I envision what happened with the Washington Commanders is probably what's going to happen with their Falcons at some point. Hey, we're going to try a quarterback this week, try a quarterback that week. If he gets dinged up, it justifies what we're doing, so forth and so on. The other reason is that, hey, look, if you look at their offense, right, or their team, how they're outfitted, right, they still have a three-headed juggernaut in the running back room, right? So again, it's like, hey, why would I bring in these fancy wide receivers if my plan is to hey, beat you by running back by committee within the game itself? Because again, I got it. Nothing's wrong with Drake London. I think they got a Rondale Moore from Arizona. So again, it's like you kind of see where they're going, but I don't see them sitting there saying, "Hey, look, well, all right, we're gonna go empty on you, and we're gonna spread you out wide and try and throw the ball down the field with Kirk Cousins or even Michael Penix." Because if you did it with Michael Penix, you clearly need a little bit more of in your arsenal because he's used to having that. And if you don't have that, now we're talking a whole nother monster for going out and competing for outside of the division. If you're just trying to win the division, you can do it with either Cousin or Penix, and you'll be fine because their defense is probably going to be a little bit better.
Eric, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I kind of agree with the panel. I do think that Kirk Cousins, at the end of the day, may be mad, but he's going to go cash his money in the bank like he did in all these other contracts and make all this money. And it's never really, I don't think, been about winning to him. But I don't think he has the team to win around him that he's going to need. And so I think he's going to be frustrated, and I'll make another prediction for you. He'll be traded at the trade deadline. I think. I think there will be a team.
You couldn't help it, couldn't you? You couldn't help it.
I think there will be a team. I think Atlanta will eat a penalty, and I don't think he'll be in there. And I think Cousins gets traded at the trade deadline.
Just remember, he has a no trade clause, so he don't have to go
He'll
anywhere.
waive it because at that he'll already be sitting the bench by then.
Damn. Okay, that is a bold statement. That's why you come here. You come for these bold statements. And you know what, Skip Bayless? You suck. We don't listen to anything you have to say. Nothing. You know what, Skip Bayless? You like Applebee's. I bet you like it.
I had boneless wings the other day because I had work meetings the whole time.
There's no such thing as the boneless wing. It's a goddamn cut-up chicken tender. It's like your mother's cutting your meat for you.
Yeah, it's a chicken nugget. It's a chicken nugget, bro.
Even the riblets. I mean, what are riblets anyway?
Oh, those there's no
ribs on them. I never saw a round bone in a rib. I never saw them round bones on riblet. What the hell is that?
There's no bones in it. What? You're playing with my emotions, man. All right, so now we got another game to go to. This one for me is interesting, probably not to the rest of you, but week 11, Houston at Dallas. Does CJ Stroud go into Dallas and say, I am the quarterback of Texas? I think he does.
I think he already is. I mean, it's a shame because I've watching Jerry Jones dismantle a great team and not do anything to secure it year in and year out, other than to stroke his own ego. I feel bad for Dallas fans every year thinking that this is their year. And the only reason I know you don't feel bad for him, KD, but I do for the fans, not because their owner can't get out of his own way.
For them because they echo that same bullshit. If this is our year, shut up. Your owner is crazy. Be quiet.
Right. I get it. And again, my thing is they say they're all in free agency and they do nothing. They say they're all in at the draft, they do nothing. They say they're all in where? They're all in to probably sell the team. That's probably they're driving up the value to sell the team because Jerry's getting old. I don't think Steven really cares too much about it.
And franchise in sports.
I mean, they just want to make money and get out of the whole race of football. And there's no reason for him to be there anymore. He got his Super Bowls in the 90s, and he's disappointed his fan base, and all he's done is made money ever since. And he's one of those owners who doesn't care, even though he acts the part of caring. And so, I think CJ Stroud is a football player, and he owns Texas right now, and he will continue to do so.
Next.
Your thoughts?
I disagree. So I do think that CJ Stroud had a great rookie year. That's fantastic. But have we ever heard of the sophomore slump?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you, coaching wise, if you give me a lot more film on a player and I can sit there and watch him consecutively, I can start to find the little ticks and the little things that that affect him and that annoy him and that get under his skin and start to really agitate him, especially as a defensive-minded coach. If I have enough time to study and enough film to study somebody, I can expose his weaknesses and frustrate him. So I do think he's got lots of weapons. I do think Houston's dangerous, but I do think it'll be different ways they win this year where it won't be C.J. Stroud. So I think they go into Dallas and I think they lose because I don't think the Cowboys are going to. I think the Cowboys are going to find a way to surprise us this year, and I just have a gut feeling. And I'm a Steelers fan, so it's not like I'm a big Cowboys fan, but something tells me they have a plan. And so I think Dallas wins, and I think Dallas is competitive and wins their division. Just me.
Go ahead, Katie.
No, Dallas does not have a plan. Their plan so far has been sending their star linebacker, pass rusher, sumo wrestling with the quarterback in Japan. That's been their plan. So look, I there is no plan. I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans go out there and blow them out. Because again, look, Dallas doesn't look like they want to play football. I'm sorry, because now who's their running back? Ezekiel Elliott. You brought him back. You brought Ezekiel Elliott back. That's going to be your guy.
Time out. I'll answer that question. Who was Jalen Warren before a couple years ago?
Oh man, come on, man.
No, I'm serious.
Oh man, come on, man. Stop. Man, come on. Oh, you give me the comp. You give me the comp to Jalen Warren running style that's on Dallas right now. And please don't say the little booger that got drafted from Kansas State.
No, I don't. It's an undrafted guy, Katie. So it's going to be somebody that surprises us. And I don't have the answer right now. But
Najee Harris is that guy.
But you have to give that guy the chance, the opportunity. You gave Warren a chance from day one. Warren didn't have to sit back somewhere buried in the Connex and ask for carries. He was getting carries. So again, when are they going to highlight this guy? What week are they going to highlight him enough to say, okay, look, all right, man, you're a good comp to Zeke, what we got already? Because I'm sorry, if you look at your division, everybody has made significant moves to either try and get better or the perception of being better. And I'm sorry, people were saying that hey, it was a 2-team race last year coming into the season between the Eagles and them. I just don't see it being a 2-team race no more. I don't see it. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I don't.
Because you what wide receiver did you use to replace Gallup? I got it. He was injured, but it's still the threat of having him there. You still need at least
they drafted Fournette in the 5th round. I mean, they did nothing with their skill players at all. They didn't draft a running back. They bring back Ezekiel Elliott, who's probably
and then oh yeah, by the way, your offensive line that used to be your pride and joy is still not fixed.
Yeah. No,
so again,
Rico Dowdle is
you can't even pronounce his name. You can't even pronounce the fucker's name. Stop it, Eric. Stop it, bro. Stop
okay,
it.
So 3 of us all agree everything that guy just said is bullshit. But anyway, and I am the resident Dallas Cowboy fan on this panel, and I am in awe of the lack of any type of even effort to.
I'm going to quote
because you didn't have it last year, and you didn't do anything to address it this year. So
David Loddick here, and championships are not won in March and April.
Oh,
hey,
his brother says that too.
Calm down. Nobody said it was a championship. We talk about the Battle of Texas here. That's what we're talking about.
All
we
right.
know at least one of those teams won't even be in contention.
Well, the way I attribute Dallas right now is the same way I attribute Chicago, in that they went. I think they go into these seasons with two lame duck coaches. I mean, and for all intents and purposes, if Eberflus screws the pooch with Caleb Williams, you're going to set him back another year, bringing in a whole new coaching staff. The same thing with Dallas. When Jerry Jones in the playoffs said, we can't have this, we have to do A, B, and C, or else this guy's going to be gone, and you decide not to do anything, that proved right then and there that this team was not all in for anything. When Jerry Jones got nervous and didn't pull the plug on Mike McCarthy at that point in time, after they got embarrassed in the playoffs and they let him keep his job, the writing was on the wall that this team is going nowhere. Nowhere, and it doesn't matter. So to me, Dallas, Washington could probably finish in second place in the NFC East this year, just because Dallas has done nothing at all.
Well, up until that last statement, I was like, I hate to agree with David.
Well,
but
I'm just telling you.
I agree when they did not fire McCarthy after that playoff loss. That did speak volumes to what's going on. Okay, I am going to come back to Dallas, but I'm going to go with the Week 17 game. Las Vegas goes into New Orleans. Derek Carr, is this a revenge game?
No, I don't think so. It depends on what they're playing for, but I don't think it's revenge. I think if it would have been last year, maybe to show them up, but it's a whole different coaching staff. It's a whole different, and I just don't look at it as a revenge game. I look at that as, I mean, it could be two teams, one or both could be playing for a wild card. So I don't think at this point in time it's a revenge game. I think it's just a game that both teams are going to be trying to win. And I think it's going to be a good game. But again, depending on what the Raiders do at quarterback, they got O'Connell and Minshew. It depends on who they're starting and where they are. But, that the AFC West has got a lot tougher with what's his name? Harbaugh going over there to coach the Chargers. I think you're going to see an entirely different team. I think this division is going to be a lot closer. And I look at it from the standpoint, Kansas City did a couple things in the draft. They got the wide receiver, but you still have Rashee Rice. So again, they could be in the same spot that they were last year, have one receiver that may be, because again, as I say about rookies, they're unknown factors. I mean, on paper, from conversation, they're the best wide receiver since Jerry Rice, and could be the best wide receiver since Treylon Burks. So, I mean, so you don't know what you're getting. And again, I think Kansas City goes in with question marks, but between those two games, I don't think it's a revenge game at all for Derek Carr.
Okay, let's hit KD and Eric. Then I have one last one. Then we're going to wrap it up. So let's make it quick. What do you guys think about the Las Vegas New Orleans game?
I think Las Vegas is going to blow them out.
Ooh, okay, that's short. That's sweet. Eric?
I think if they turn to Aiden O'Connell and Las Vegas things aren't going well, this will be a game I do not watch because I think it'll be two really bad teams playing.
Ooh, okay, even worse. All right, so this is the last one. Then we're going to wrap it up. We got 5 minutes left to go. So here it is. Week 6, the Detroit Lions head to Texas Stadium, Dallas Cowboys. After the way it ended last year, does it end the same way this year? Who prevails? What do y'all think?
I'm going. The Lions are going to take care of their business and not leave it up to that anymore. I know Dan Campbell has to have watched some film, and he probably sees himself. Hey, look, not too much along the lines of arrogant, but kind of almost Madden-esque type of stuff, going for it on 4th and 39 type of stuff, to where it's like a video game like. Not even a professional coach, all calculated, tactical decisions, stuff like that. And I think he's going to use that and say, "Hey, look, I can't coach like that this year because we all been in the chat talking about he cost them a couple of games, and I just don't see a coach saying, "Hey, okay, look, I want to be viewed as one of the top 4 teams in my conference," doing that again. Because again, all of us heard it say, you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Now we're talking, hey, you going from a perennial favorite of your division to now you barely scraping into the playoffs.
All right. Eric?
So Dan Campbell in Detroit will be fine, but he'll be fine because he'll roll the dice. But in this game, everybody's counting out the Cowboys, and I will not. I think Dak Prescott should have won the MVP, and I think he's a fantastic quarterback. So Dan Campbell will manage this game and have an opportunity to win this game late, and instead of punting, he'll go for it on his own 35, up 3 points on 4th and 2, get stuffed, drive Sean nuts instead of punting. The Cowboys get the ball back on the 36, score a touchdown, and win the game.
Okay. David?
Which game is this? Because this ain't even an important game.
Detroit at Dallas.
Detroit's going to kill them. Sean, I can't believe you didn't bring up probably one of the most important games of the season for you and me. Week 17, Jets at Bills. This could determine the AFC East, my friend.
It will not. It will be over by then because you guys.
The Bills will be 12-5 or 12-4 and already have home field wrapped up.
You'll be fighting for a playoff spot.
What this guy said is not bullshit.
The Jets will have this wrapped up in Week 14. The Jets.
Oh my God!
They have
You are so funny.
They have a great defense and a quarterback who's got a good mind, and he's going to be on a revenge tour.
Sure. Okay.
Bills end up 3rd place AFC East. Done. Next.
No,
All right.
Stay tuned for the chat tonight, boys. Jeff's going to be mad.
Yeah, he is. And thank God I don't subscribe to that.
No, but seriously, seriously, Katie, I want to ask you about that Jets-Bills game in Week 17. I'm not going to speak on it because I will say that I think that game can decide the division. Eric says it's over because just on paper, but in all seriousness, what do you think?
Look, it's a division game. They're highly unpredictable. Matter of fact, we alluded to it earlier with the Cardinals and the 49ers. We talked about how the Cardinals beat the 49ers. So we can say all we want about, hey, okay, look, this particular team is a perennial favorite because they have X, Y, and Z, and that team will walk out there and get trounced. Matter of fact, you look at last year. Nobody picked the Jets to beat the Bills' opening game or second game or whatever game it was, right? Okay, yeah, got it. You get fans. Okay, fans or haters. Got it. You guys would do that. But I'm talking about any analyst or anybody that's quote unquote just looking at it from outside looking in, especially if you sit and say, hey, okay, look, all right, I need you to play a game without Aaron Rodgers and win it. I don't think anybody would have thought of that. Or Aaron Rodgers getting hurt the way he got hurt. I don't think anybody would have thought any of that stuff. So for me, both teams need some things to go right for to get their particular advantage, right? I think the run game is going to be more key than what we think because people probably thinking that they're going to air it out because of the 2 quarterbacks. I don't think that at all. I think it's going to be 2 things is going to be run game and who's going to be able to stop that run game or control it.
Sure.
So I think that's going to probably dictate the game, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout on either side.
Well, right. And here's my thing. First of all, the Jets and Bills usually split. Okay. So I guess for me, it comes down to when that split is. Do the Bills win early and the Jets win late, or do the Jets win early and the Bills win late? So there's that. But you can say 0 all you want. It don't matter. You can do that. But the more important thing that Eric will sit there and say, well, the Bills can't throw the ball 40 times a game. It's not. The Bills are not going to be throwing the ball 40 times a game. If you notice what they've done in free agency and if you notice what they've done in the draft what they didn't go out and trade for a number one guy. They didn't try to get Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel or get these guys who turned them down and went to other teams like the Steelers did. But the fact is, we are going to be a more balanced team, which is what ended up happening after Joe Brady was hired last year when Ken Dorsey was fired. And you have a whole offseason to implement a whole different game plan and so on and so forth. You're not going to see the 15 targets to Stephon Diggs or to Keon Coleman or to Khalil Shakir or whatever. Your number one wide receiver on this team is probably going to be Dalton Kincaid, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Okay. He had 73 catches last year. And most of them came in the second half of the season. So again, this offense is going to evolve away from just the standard pass, throw the ball. They're going to pick their spots. They're going to do what they're going to do. You think that Buffalo has regressed to the point of they're going to be struggling to finish third in the division because you look at the Jets, and I am a fan of the Jets. I love the Jets. I love their defense. I love their offense. Can their quarterback stay healthy? Do you believe in Tyrod Taylor to lead you to 12-5 if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt? I say no. Well, you can roll your eyes, but it happened 4 plays into the season.
That's not what you want to talk about.
You can roll him, but he's coming off an Achilles injury.
We don't have the time to do this tonight.
I'm not arguing, but you're dismissive about something that was. You talk about facts. The fact that happened last year was a fact. So can you keep your quarterback healthy? That is a key component to the Jets being successful.
They worked on their offensive line.
Well,
I think those problems. They
sure, guess what?
They don't have an elite playmaker in elite moments. You don't have splash on that team.
You worked on your offensive line, but they still have to gel and they still have to play together. So it takes time, and it does. You can say it doesn't, but year after year, proof after proof, I can go out and draft the number one offensive lineman in the draft. Doesn't mean that he's going to be the number one offensive lineman in the NFL that year. It takes time to gel as a team, especially a line. They all have to be on the same page and play. So my point is this. You have to look at past performance, a quarterback coming off an Achilles injury. If he's getting rushed in the pocket, if people know that he's immobile and he can't move like he did, is he going to take more hits in the pocket? You say no, you say that's not happening, but it's happened. But again, you know better. So my point is you have to look at what you have behind to say, okay, if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, Tyrod Taylor is going to lead me to the promised land. Is that the case? Okay, just like if Josh Allen gets hurt, I don't think Mitch Trubisky is going to lead me to the promised land. I know that.
Well, time out before, so we can end the show, and I don't feed into this all night. I hope to God Claypool makes the team, and I hope Allen misses a game so I can watch Trubisky to Claypool.
Now, oh dear God! All right, KD, last thoughts. Wind us up. KD, last thoughts.
Yeah. Hey, look. I'm excited because the schedules came out. I get to actually forecast what games I want to try and attend, and for me, it feels good because again the UFL had tried to do what they needed to do to supplement our fix for the loss of football, and it was eventful at times, but I just couldn't keep up with it enough because it wasn't enough of the games that came on. So they probably need to hurry up and expand. Probably get about 16 teams instead of the 12 or 8 or whatever they have right now. And then the other thing is, hey, look, support your doggone teams, people. Quit crying, quit sitting back crying and doing like something on this person. One of these guys on this panel does all the time. Cries and bickers when their team don't win and so forth. Support your team. It's okay. It's fine. Like he told somebody, I'm going to tell him, somebody was telling me basically, hey, my team was being led to the slaughter. But notice he didn't say anything about his team playing that same exact team being led to the slaughter. So, hey, it is what it is. So, I'm just excited for the season. So,
All right, David, any last thoughts before we go? And thank you for Hot Pockets and Mama Wit for viewing.
No, like I said, the schedule is out. That's great. I think most of our teams that are playing or that we talk about here all have very difficult schedules based on past performance and based on their opponents coming up this year. Like I said in the beginning, our first half of the season, we have to make as much hay as we can, just like in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has to do the same because their last 7 games of the season are brutal in terms of who they play. So we got to make the most of our opportunities when we can. I would not put the Bills in the grave. I believe that there's more fight in the dog than what some people give them credit for. But again, it's a new season. There's new faces. There's going to be new schemes. Everybody's going to be surprised. It's going to be a great year. And again, I look forward to it. I look forward to the fact that Buffalo plays Arizona week 1. I think I'll be making a trip, going live with From the Couch somewhere and have a nice party. And we'll be doing the Bills Arizona thing. Maybe I'll take Sean with me down to the Bills backers bar so he can see what that's all about. Yeah, don't lift your eyes at me. It's not my fault. There's no Jets backers bars. I don't even think
it's
people
called
are
every bar.
Jets. But no, seriously. Thanks a lot, guys. Hey, KD, just so you know, you're 9 hours and 34 minutes away. Me and Sean are going to pop in one day, and we'll be doing a remote right from your own studio.
Okay, that's fine. Make sure y'all come in. I got something for you.
You just got to make me some real food, not all that seafood stuff that you and Jeffrey and your wife eat, because I can't do that. I'm not good with all that stuff.
They live about as far away from an ocean as you could possibly freaking
That
get.
don't matter.
I don't think you have to worry about that. All right,
I'm
Eric,
sure
any last thoughts?
Seafood if he wants it.
Well, just remember, we're hearing advice on the NFL season from a guy that thought there was a bridge in the middle of the desert in the middle of the night. So ideally, enjoy. It's May. Enjoy your season, ladies and gentlemen that are coming up. Enjoy your schedules. They're going to change based on injuries, based on players unhappy with contracts. And just, while Dave doesn't want to put the Bills in the grave, I'll be here next week to put them back in the grave. Enjoy your evening, gentlemen.
I got one final thing to say to one of our viewers. Miss Witt, please, for the love of God, take your son's computer, phone, and anything that he can get on social media to spew his nonsense. Take it away from him. He's not allowed to have it anymore.
There you go. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for watching. On behalf of myself, Andrew Siciliano, Brian Cranston, Morgan Freeman, and Vern Troyer, thank you all and have a good night. And we will see you all next week.
Oh, man.